Good. And then as you're ready, just rolling up to standing. Now, today we're just going to take a series of balancing poses. And let me think if there's anything else I'd like to do before that. Let's do something strengthening first with the thighs a little bit wide and the feet a little bit wide, like you're on a horse. Yeah. And let's just take one of our goddess poses. So I'm going to make the C curve with my fingers. Yeah. And just hold the arms up in a C curve also. And I'm going to tilt to the side. And tilt to the other side. Take that again. Feel that strong thigh muscle. I can feel it. I feel it more during the shelter in place now too. And to the side. And to center. And now I'm going to take it to the side and I'm going to come forward any amount. It's sort of just a gentle fold at the thigh crease and then come up. And again, making a nice elliptical shape or a circular shape with the body, tracing that path of the planets. Good. Bend to the second side and come around the horizon again. Tracing that ancient shape, the elliptical path of the planets is a beautiful image to just let the body slow down into the poetry of our circles. Good. Coming around again. Any amount, and then you come back to center. Goddess pose, opening the arms. Have that gesture of gratitude and abundance there for just a sec. Sort of like you're out offering hors d'oeuvres, you know, it's just sort of a beautiful gesture. Yeah. And then we come back up and just notice the thighs, maybe rub the thighs a little bit. If you can feel that effort is so nice for strengthening. And it's just something I like to do a little isometric strengthening there for a sec. So now what I'd like to do is take one of our first balancing poses for this series. And what I'll do is I imagine that there is a log to my side and I'm picking up a leg, picking a foot up any amount and stepping over the log and putting the weight on that new foot. And then you let it come back up over the log and back to center. Yeah. Now you check in with yourself and see how your balance is. If today your balance is different than it was yesterday, you might like to step over a stick. Yeah. So you do where you check in with where you're at today. So you make the log as big or small as you want. We'll lift it and step over it and just lean to the side slightly with your weight. The weight shifts onto that foot. Good. And then you bring it up over your log and back to center. If you want to hold on to a countertop or a chair or a table, do that. We'll take that one more time. Inhale, the knee comes up over that log and to the side. Good. And then you inhale, lift over the log. Exhale, foot comes down, back to center. Yeah. Good. Let's take the other side. So second side, let's shift the weight so that you can pick up that second side foot and you go over the log, you inhale and then exhale to the side. Yeah. And then inhale, up comes the knee, foot comes back to center on the exhale. Beautiful. And we'll take it again. Inhale up, knee bends, comes up, exhale over that log, side, shift the weight. Yeah, good. Up comes the leg and back to center. And I want to mention my dance teacher talks about instead of thinking of balancing on one foot, think of your center as going down into the center of the earth, almost like a birthday candle in your center going down into the cake. Does that make sense? So that your center is keeping you in balance instead of this foot down there. It's more centered in your body, and play with that. So let's take it once again. Inhale. Exhale, coming to the side. Shift the weight. Thinking of that center. And you lift it up. And back to the center. Good. Good, that's good. Now, we can also take it in different directions. So let's take it forward. I'm going to turn slightly to the side so you can see. Inhale, I'm going to take the first side foot up and step forward over the log. Shift the weight. And then inhale, lift. And back to under the hips with both feet. Good. Taking it again. Inhale, up. Exhale, down toward that, over that log. Good, inhaling, come back to center. Exhale, the foot finds its footprint. Good. Now let's shift the weight so that we come to the second side. Lift that foot. Step over your log. And shift the weight forward a little bit if your knee is happy with it. And back. So this one's a little more challenging to me anyway than the side to side one. Depends on the day. Taking it again. Inhale, lift the foot. Exhale, over. Inhale, up. And exhale, down. Good. Oh, and you let yourself sigh and appreciate it for a sec. Yeah. So that's the balancing pose. Now, if you want, we can play for just a sec with going behind us. So you'd lift up the leg. We'll just do this briefly. Lift up the first side leg and you step over your stick maybe behind you rather than a log. Yeah. And then you bring it back to the center. Bend the knee and place the foot. Nice. And we'll take that side one more. Inhale, lift that knee. Step over your stick behind you and shift the weight. Good. Inhale, you come back to center. Gorgeous. Inhale, let's shift the weight. Inhale, take the second side foot and you step behind. Make sure that the back behind you is clear of, living room things. Inhale, coming back. And if you lose your balance a little bit or wobble a little bit, that is okay. It's how losing our balance is how we regain our balance. Yeah, is what my dance teacher says. Inhale, lift that second side foot once more. And we come back with that. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. Comes the foot. So to finish this piece, or to kind of expand on this piece, I'm going to do our yoga ruler is what it's called. And what you do is you hold an imaginary ruler in front of you or an imaginary stick, right? And what you do is you trace that up your body as you lift your knee over the log and you walk very slowly. So then you shift the weight, take the second side foot, and your yoga ruler comes forward. So feel free to walk around your space. If you can walk in a little circle, the slower you go, the harder it is. So find your pace. It doesn't have to match mine. Good. The yoga ruler. This one is stimulating. So you might not want to do it right before you go to bed. But it's a lovely thing to do in the morning or the afternoon to get a little pick-me-up. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Inhale up and exhale. And find your way back to your mat. I suppose you could do it in place too. Play with that. We're all in sort of different spaces now that we're in our, homes. So play with that. Good, that's yoga ruler. And then we'll just take one more balance, which is, I'm just going to take the one side, one leg, and I'm going to come up to the ball of the foot. I'm going to turn and pivot the knee to the side so that the heel rests on the second side, on the other side ankle. Yeah. And then we just draw the hands to center. And this is our tree pose. So just this, even though you're on the ball of your foot, you can feel all the little adjustments the feet are making to stay balanced in this pose. Yeah. If you want, you can let the foot slide up to the shin, to the side shin, but only if it's available. It's not better. If you want to stay down with the heel and the ball of the foot to the floor, you do that. So just play there. And you can play with the hands. You can let the hands stay in this sort of prayer position in the center of the chest, or you can also draw the hands up to the up higher above the head, which gives a little more challenge. I like to often keep it down to my heart because I like that focus. So there's a lot of either physical or poetic reasons to stay right where you are, if you like it better than what the teacher is doing for extras, And then let the foot, if it's not already down with that ball of the foot on the floor, you bring it down and then you just bring the foot back to your footprint and let it go. So that's tree pose. And sometimes in books, they'll show people taking their foot all the way to the inner thigh. If you're at home and you want to try that sometime, you can. But my teacher, Marianne, always said, just keeping that ball of the foot and then the ball of the foot on the floor, heel to the shin, that is really calling on a lot of your resources. That's plenty. Yeah. So sometimes less is more. And balancing really gathers your resources into the center. It's hard to worry when you're doing that because it's a certain amount of demand on the consciousness, and that's nice. It can also gather your resources to do something that you need to concentrate on, whatever that might be in your day. It can help you focus. Yeah. And bringing up focus, Candace had mentioned looking around at quotes by Bruce Lee, and I found one that I enjoyed. It said something like the successful warrior is the average man with laser-like focus. Nice. So anyway, these balances can help focus. And it's not gender PC, that quote, but we'll let Bruce have an allowance there. So anyway, the successful warrior is the average man with laser-like focus. So it's more your intention than that's a big piece. Okay, so let's take the tree pose on one other side. And so I'll bring the ball of the foot to the floor and turn the knee out so that the foot and the heel are somewhat at an angle and the heel rests gently onto the ankle of the second side. Draw the palms together in front of the heart. Yeah. And you just do that. And again, lift through the hips so that you're not just sort of dumping your energy over to that hip. Does that make sense? You want to draw up through the navel and let the spine be long so that you're centered here. Yeah. I had a theater teacher who would say, if you kind of lean into that one hip, it it's sort of dissipating energy. If you draw up your center, then you have your voice, then you have all that energy to gather. So there's that for what that's worth. If you want, you can bring hands up above the head. If you like to play with a little more challenge. Sometimes I like to keep things simple and I bring the hands back to the chest after flirting with that for a sec. You get to decide. If you want to bring the foot up to the side shin or the calf muscle here, you can do that. Play with it a little. The first side might not feel like the second side, and you make that just fine. You let that be. You don't try to make the second side like the first side or vice versa. And then you might like to bring that ball of the foot back down and you just play with it down low again. Yes. Good. So you can tell it calls on your resources and all that muscles around the hips, which is good for us. Yeah. And then we let it go. Let it just dissolve. You let it go. Feet come back under the hips. Oh, and let's just rock side to side again. Porch swing. So after doing a pose that calls on your resources a bit, it's nice to give the body something familiar and easy to do. And so we inhale to one side. This time we could inhale. Let's play with this. Inhale to the center, exhale to one side. Inhale, center, exhale to the other side. If you want a little more focus for the mind, you can play with the breath like that. Inhale, center, exhale, side. Inhale, center. Exhaling, other side. If you don't want to think that hard, you back it down to just inhaling on one side and exhaling on the other. You get to choose. So rocking and breathing. It can be nice to have those options because sometimes the mind needs a job. And if you can give it that one instead of worrying about something, that can be a nice tool to have. Inhale, center, exhale, side. Inhale, center. Exhale, other side, and maybe gaze at something beautiful in your living space or out the window. Your yoga slideshow. Or a memory you have that's lovely of a scene or a person. You get to visit there during your yoga in your slideshow. And it changes your physiology to just think of those things again in a positive way. Rocking, good. Let's take a few circles with the hips. Inhale forward, exhale around. Inhale forward, exhaling around and back. Good. And draw the hips forward, other direction, around and back. Inhaling and exhaling. Good. Let's take it and let ourselves take maybe another rotation or two, and then let's consider. Yoga is very interested in that too, is you form the intention in your mind before you stop. So you're like, yeah, maybe after a few I'll come to a pause, but right now it's still feeling delicious. So you don't have to do it right when the teacher says or right when you think of it. You can do a few more and then come to a pause. So forming the intention in the mind before taking action. Good. And let the body just rock you to a pause. And I'm going to come into my squatting position. I'm going to move the camera just a sec. So come into your squat. And what I want to do is just take a few nourishing breaths into the belly. So toes slightly out, heels slightly in. Yeah. And palms to the floor or fingertips to the floor. And we just breathe into the belly. A nice nourishing breath, like a baby that breathes right into the belly. Notice how that gets into the nooks and crannies of the low back. Good, and then we'll take our Bhastrika breath, that dog pant through the nose. Good, and then breathe into the belly, a nice nourishing breath. Good. And then one more round of Bhastrika breath through in and out of the nose. Good, and then into the belly one more time, just normal breath, normal breathing, whatever that is. Good, and then as you're ready, just finding your way to a comfortable seat. Nice. And I'm just going to take one leg in, keep one leg bent, one leg extended and one leg bent, rather. Yes. And then we inhale here, exhaling over that bent knee and around and up. And just enjoying that collective energy that we are creating, even though we're in different locations. Energetically, it's still that collective, lovely slowing down together. That there's something a little different about doing yoga with others than it is doing your own. And both are wonderful, but it's so nice to do it in community and get that connection a little. Inhaling, and then you graze on the exhale over the horizon. Inhale up. Exhaling around. Yeah, so our tree poses are good for focus. Inhaling up. And exhaling. And rotations are good for letting that all go. Ah, yeah. So there's this wonderful ebb and flow in yoga where you do something that takes some efforting and then you just let it go. You erase the chalkboard, say, okay, that was fun, and you let it go. Inhaling up, practicing letting go and gathering resources. Inhale in the center and exhale. Good. Good. And draw the second leg in. Extend that bent leg. Inhale as you are in the center. Then you have that wonderful center to come down over the bent knee and flirt with your limits as you graze and come around the horizon. Inhale up and exhale around. And we'll take a few more of those in your own breath pace. Inhale up and exhaling over and around. So we're at a full moon. We're close to one. I think it's tomorrow. And sometimes it's a really nice idea to do just a little less, because the tendency is to do more, but you might be inspired too. This morning I woke up and made a quiche. You know, sometimes you get a wild hair and do something creative, so you can take it in a positive too. And have a nice lunch. Inhale up. That's been one of my shelter in place things, is to get refine my quiche making. It's pretty respectable now. It's pretty yummy. Yeah. And around. It's fun to hear what people think of for their creative outlets right now. Inhale up to center and you just stay there. Inhale in the center and exhale. Inhaling again. And exhale, let it go. You let the backs of the shoulder blades, the bottom tips of the shoulder blades, and you let those sort of drip down the back like teardrops or raindrops. Feeling that happen and how that can help a release in the shoulders. Just that imagery if you're someone who's visual. And breathe. Good. You know, and it can sometimes be nice to turn on a little music. My teacher would say, you know, turn on the music in the room next to you, you know, somewhere a little further away. So it sort of drifts in, it sort of floats in and doesn't overpower the experience, but kind of has a nice background music feel is one idea if you like that. And some people, some yoga teachers get a Spotify playlist together and then send it to people so they can listen to it during the practice. And if I get fancy, I'll let you know. But so far, we're keeping it simple. But you feel free in your own space. It can be a nice accompaniment. And silence is also nice. But I'll see about playing with it. It might be fun sometime. Let's come to the floor. Well, I changed my mind. Before we do that, let's take a few cat-cows and rotations in our table pose because I just feel like it's important for our spines to stay supple. So come to our table pose, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, and we're just going to wag the tail like a dog for a sec. You can choose what kind of tail you have and what kind of dog you are. Yeah. One of my first yoga teachers told us to do that. And I was so happy. I was in college and I was like, oh, wow. Everything else is so serious in school. It's nice to have someone tell you to wag your tail. So I spent a fair bit of time in the gym basement in yoga classes to take a load off. Good. So let's take the center and then we take the hips around toward the heels and back. And then you come up, inhale, exhale. So you're tracing again a circle with the hips down toward the ankles and up, inhale. And exhale back. Lubricating the joints. Good. Wonderful. Coming on an inhale up to center, tabletop position, change directions with the hips. Exhaling back toward the heels with the hips. Inhaling up. Exhaling around and back. And finding padding for under the knees if that would feel like a help. Make yourself comfortable. Only come as far back as feels really accessible. We're not pushing anything or striving at all. We're just flirting with our limits, and often they'll open up with a little bit of doing less. You get to come right up to it and then kind of play right there without pushing, but you can flirt with it. Good. Exhaling back, inhale, come up to your tabletop, and then we'll take just a few cat-cows. So you lift the tailbone up and the breastbone up on the inhale. Exhale, round the spine like a Halloween cat. Today's almost the day. Tomorrow's your official day to do some cat-cows. You can pretend to be a Halloween cat. Yeah, draw the navel toward the spine. Exhale, inhale, draw the tailbone up, breastbone forward. Good, round the back, Halloween cat. Good, inhale. And exhale, just a few more in your own breath pace. Good. So important to keep that spine supple. We might be doing a little bit less in our activities. Maybe some of you've got it going on, but I can tell my body needs to do this more often, and it's so nice. Good, and then draw yourself back to center, and then come back to a seat on the floor. And then I'm just going to lay on the floor, slowly, gently, however you like to do that. Make sure you have a little nightstand for your glasses if you're wearing some. You could take a block or a chair, well, something you won't sit on. Something where you won't sit on your glasses, but find somewhere where you can let that go if you wish. And I'm just going to take a few windshield wipers with the knees. So what that looks like is just knees over to 11 o'clock. So knees bent, feet on the floor. Now over to 11 o'clock and then 1 o'clock. Good. And then similar to our breath work with our side to side movement standing up, you can play, if you'd like to, with inhaling to the center with the knees, exhaling to the side as the knees come to the side. Inhale, breathing in, exhaling, knees to one side. Inhale, knees come up, and exhale to the other side. Another way to give the mind a job, which can be soothing for both the mind and the body. Inhaling up, exhale side. Inhaling center, exhaling other side. And then maybe the knees are coming out to 2 and 10 o'clock on the face of a clock. As the back starts to warm, inhale up, exhale side. Inhale up, exhale other side. And taking that in your own breath pace for a few more rounds. And I'll let you practice that. Good. Very nice. Good, and then on one of your next inhalations, let the knees come up to center and stay up. Draw knees to chest, maybe one knee and then the other, one hand on each knee, or clasp the hands over both knees, whatever works. Inhale, draw the knees toward the chest. Exhaling, release the squeeze, but not the knees. Inhale, drawing it in. Breathe, send the breath to the low back. So nice. Yeah, and inhale, exhale there, release the squeeze. Taking it one more time. Inhale, draw it in. And exhale, you let that go. Now I'm going to take both hands and clasp them around either the knee or the back of the thigh of the left knee leg and extend the right leg out along the floor. Good. And you just let the gravity do its job here. You let the weight of the hands bring that left knee toward the chest at first. Good. And then when you're ready, you draw that knee in toward the left rib cage as you inhale. Good. And then you exhale, release the stretch, but not the knee. Inhale, drawing it in. Again. Nice. Exhale, release the stretch. Take it one more time. Inhale, drawing the knee in. And exhale, you release the stretch. Good. This time, I'm going to let that whole assembly, the hands over the knee or under the thigh, you just let that whole assembly kind of rock out, just fall out toward the shoulder. Yeah, so falling out to, just let it rock over to the side as just wherever it lands. And then inhale, draw the knee in toward, sort of toward the shoulder there. And exhale, you release that squeeze. Good. Inhale, drawing it towards you. Exhale, let that go with the stretch, but you still have the hands on the knee. Inhale, hug that knee towards your side, toward the shoulder. Good, and you exhale, you let it go, that stretch. Let's draw the knee into a midpoint between that outer point and the center one toward the rib cage, somewhere in the middle. Okay, so maybe toward the armpit this time. Inhale, draw it in, the knee. Exhaling, release. Inhale, drawing it in. Exhaling, let it release. Good, and one more. Squeeze gently, and you release it. Bring that knee back to center. Maybe one more squeeze toward the left rib cage, back to center. Very nice. And then you release the hands from the knee. Let that foot gently find the floor. Yes. And you just pause and breathe for a sec. Good. And then I'm just going to take that left foot, rest it, lift it up, rest it gently on top of the right knee or around there. Yeah, and then arms in a T position with the fingertips down, sort of like you're going to play the piano, and let the fingertips help rock you over toward the right side. And let that knee just hover out at a diagonal wherever you land in a gentle spinal twist here. In your crocodile twist is what they call this. And breathe. If you need to back off, you back off. A couple more breaths. Good, and let the back just roll like a sack of rice back into the center of the mat there. Let the foot find its way back to the floor off of the knee. Good. Breathe. Good, and then let's take the second side. So I'm going to extend the left leg out, draw the right knee in. Inhale, and exhale with just the gravity doing its job. So hands are clasped over that right knee or under the thigh, whichever is more accessible and comfortable. And you just breathe. And that might be enough. You might like to breathe for a while there and just forego everything else I'm throwing in on the table. You know, it can be worth a lot to just stay with just something really sumptuous that you're enjoying. Inhale, draw that knee toward the right rib cage, that bent knee. Exhale, let that go.
Still holding around the knee. Inhale, drawing it in toward that right rib cage. Exhaling, release. One more. Hug it in towards you. Good, and you let it go. Now I'm going to take that whole assembly and let it fall out to the side, any amount, toward the shoulder, and then inhale, draw the knee in toward the shoulder. Exhale, release. Inhale, squeeze. Exhale, letting it go. One more, drawing it in. And release. Good. Now draw that knee into the midpoint between the center of the body and the shoulder, somewhere close to the armpit. Okay, there. And then draw that in on the inhale. And exhale, release. Inhale in. Oh, exhale, let it go. Sometimes you get these wonderful inhalations that just sort of arise almost out of nowhere, somewhere in your practice. Inhale, draw it in. It's like you get an extra nice little gulp of air all the way up at the collarbone level, even though it started at the belly, and it's just delicious. And let it go. One more if you want. And release. Knee comes back to center, so you can draw it if you like. One more time toward the right rib cage. Nice and centered. Good. Yes, so that low back, it's nice, a nice nooks and crannies stretch in several directions here. And then we let the foot gently find the floor. Let's take a moment just to breathe. And I'm going to go for till 5 more minutes. It's about 3:30 right now. If you have to go, feel free, but I'm just going to do 5 more minutes because we started about 5 minutes into the class. And just breathe. I like to let you know what the time is, because sometimes if you have somewhere to go, and everyone starts looking at their watches, it's nice to be able to relax and have someone just tell you. Good. Inhale, draw the knee up slightly so you can place the right foot onto the left knee, just gently, sort of just like a little kiss of the foot and the knee. It's just nice and gentle. And then the arms are in a T position. Fingertips toward the floor, help rock you over toward the second side, toward the left. Make sure you've got a little room to do so. Good, and then that knee just goes wherever it lands, somewhere out there in space. You just let it pause. And you breathe there, crocodile twist. Couple more breaths. Good, and when you're ready, just roll back onto the mat with the back. Maybe knees bent, feet on the floor. Taking a few breaths, doing nothing but breathing. Inhaling, exhaling. Let those thigh bones fall deep into the thigh sockets, those acetabular cups. in the pelvis, which is, it's like the name in Greek is like a wine cup. Yeah. Let those thigh bones just fall into that wine cup, into the acetabulum. Inhale, exhale. Good. Letting the thigh bones extend out into space at the diagonal. Can help you drop into the pelvis there. Toes spill onto the floor like cream. Jaws relax. Ears float away from each other. And just taking a few breaths. And if you wish, you can stay there as long as you like in your nice reclined position and take your afternoon siesta so you're fresh for later. So just staying there if you like, let my voice just wash over like a river and you just don't really need to listen to all the words. And I want to share something my teacher said. A quote says, if you take one small step toward the guru or towards your yoga, the guru will take 1,000 steps toward you. So if you like, you can, if you're called to, you can press and roll over to the side. Always feeling free to stay right where you are. And then pressing up with the strength of your arms. Head is heavy and comes up last. Good. And just taking a couple rotations in each direction with the torso to come back to movement into your day, into your body, into your sunshine walk maybe later. Change directions. Inhaling up. Exhale around. So nice to be with you all. Let's come up to center on an inhale. And the shoulders come up and around a couple times each way. Just real short and sweet with it. Good. And change directions. So nice. Choosing that next exhale, let the shoulders come down, stay nice and low and relaxed. Inhale, see that nice, lovely exhale. The head comes around, chin toward the chest and up. Just a couple times. Good, yeah, change directions. Still inhaling as you come up, exhale around. Good. And inhale, coming up to stay up. And just for a moment, let's sit and imagine our luminous skeletons because it's almost Halloween. Letting the bones glow from within like candlelight. A nice illumination inside, within. Good. It's fun. Inhale, draw the hands away from yourself. Let the palms face up. Exhale, palms together in front of your heart. May we live like the lotus at home in the muddy waters. Thank you. That's your class for the day, for the moment. And I'll see you next time, same place, same time.
You can feel free to mute yourself or just stay quiet and say bye. Ciao, ciao, everyone. See you.
Nancy, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Nancy, don't put your ballot in a mailbox. Put it in a drop box.
I'm going to put it in a Dropbox.
Good. You got it.
Good. Why do you say that though? Is it
Because they aren't guaranteeing the mail at this point to get there by Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, even though I think California has different rules about it, but still. Yeah.
Good to hear. Yes, the
Okay.
library has a Dropbox. That's where I'm going to go.
Excellent.
Good public message. So good to see everybody. And I'll see you down the way.
See
Ciao.
you in November.